So it's 3 p.m. and it's time for the Revenue Forum webinar. Thank you so much for participating and hope you will have an enjoyable hour. Revenue Forum is a non-profit initiative started by me in 2008. We currently organize webinars. We hold these on Thursdays every other month. Half-day seminars. We do these in 12 cities in 10 countries. The coming seminars will be held in Rotterdam, Brussels, and Amsterdam. And we do that from 9th to 11th of May. I will give some more information at the end of this webinar. We also have whole day events, and this is a unique hybrid event held simultaneously online as well as physically in Stockholm, London, and Milan. Hold the date for the coming one on the 30th of January 2024. It's coming whenever you know. Topic of this episode is how guest communication can increase reservations. And we have invited an expert panel and a hotel representative to show their insights. Participants to this webinar are a broad mix of listeners from all over the world. There are hotels ranging from 2 to 5 stars, independent and large brands. And we will make this hour as inspiring to you all. Now, let's introduce the speakers of today. Our expert panelist this time is Girl Power, and it consists of 3 expert speakers who will each get about 10 minutes to talk. After that, we will have an interview with Vanja Vibern from Stockholm Meeting Selections. Now, let me start with the introductions of the speakers, and let me also then start with myself. My name is Annemarie Gubanski, and apart from being the organizer of Revenue Forums, I am founder and CEO of Taktikon Consultancy and our soft brand Taktikon Hotels. Today, I will talk about how communication on our social media channels can create more reservations.
Hi, my name is Fiona Gillen, and I head up marketing at the Hotels Network. We're a technology company. And today I'm going to be talking about how to personalize the guest communication, but on the online journey, during the booking journey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Langone. I work at Expedia Group here in the Nordics, and today I'm going to give you some solutions to help you grow your business.
Hi, I'm Vanja Vibern. I work as the Chief Commercial Officer at Stockholm Meeting Selection, and I'm invited here today for an interview. So it will be very interesting to hear what will happen today.
For us as well, and a special thanks to you for joining us today, Vanja. Now let me see if we can start our presentations. And of course, it's me starting, as I already said. Now, my name is Annemarie Gubanski, and I'm one of the owners of Taktikon Consultancy, which is a consultancy specialized in revenue management and hotel distribution. We offer revenue management outsourcing and tech stack efficiency. With our 100 properties all over Europe, we are one of the main revenue management consultancies in Europe. From 2022, we also offer a soft brand called Taktikon Hotels. It's for independent hotels who want to be part of a hotel chain without the limitation of a franchise brand. Hotels remain independent together with us. I thought to talk about social media and how they can help to create more reservations. I've chosen this topic as I see that many of our hotels might have quite a number of followers on their social channels, but that does not mean that they convert these followers into bookers. In this presentation, I will try to see if we can change this. For a starter, let me show some research I found on social channel behavior per age group. This research is done in Sweden, but you know, Swedes are like human too, and social media behavior is quite comparable to the rest of the world. For our Swedish-speaking listeners, check out this link. It shows much more interesting background than I chose to show in this presentation. Now, first of all, you can see that the group aged 76 and older mainly use Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For me, and I believe quite many of you, these are the channels that my parents use. And I frankly solely use Facebook because it makes my mother happy. Luckily for me, there's an automatic connection to Facebook from Instagram, which is my main social channel, and where I follow my friends, companies I'm interested in. Interesting in this group is the use of YouTube. And we will see that this is a main channel for many generations. YouTube is used to find information. This kind of information you really look for is very depending on age. And the kind of information offered is very broad. You can find all from how to bake cookies, the habits of the Kardashians, how to create great PowerPoints, build a tractor, and makeup tips. Now, when we look at the younger age and go to age 16 to 18, Facebook is not that important anymore. Snapchat is the main channel. I personally hate this channel as it goes too fast for me, but then again, I'm in a different age group. Kids this age use the channels to share pictures and follow where their friends are. A very fast and very social channel, as they can share a lot of pictures per hour, and it keeps on being fresh as information of these for these pictures disappear quickly. Instagram is still an important channel, and here also YouTube is relevant, though what they look for is different than what maybe the older age group is looking for. TikTok for this age is used about the same way as YouTube, finding information and instructions. A bit younger, you see the same channels as on the previous slides, but TikTok is a bit more important. And then the trend you also see in the rise of TikTok, even in the age of 10 to 12. Now, I hear you say TikTok is a channel which might be abandoned, but if this happens, another TikTok-like channel will be taken over, maybe Taktikon. The name changes, but the need of this kind of channel will remain. Now, this slide shows the use of channels per age group, but depending on where they are born, when they are born. Facebook is still an important channel until we come to those born to the zeros, and YouTube is an important channel for every age. The younger generation, yes, okay, Facebook is not important. It's not important, but they probably don't have access to Facebook either. So why is this important? Well, we often talk about data-driven marketing, which is marketing that starts with insights from data about customers or target group. Through data collection, from more of our resources, you can better understand who your customers are and what they are interested in. In a number of previous webinars, I've talked about the importance to use a generational segmentation, such as baby boomers, Gen Z, and millennials. Within these generations, you also might want to look closely to their personas, the individual guests' interests, who influences, where they book, how they use their social channels, etc. Who influences where to book might be the younger age group, and this influences your choice of social media channel and what you like to post there. I will get back to that. But data sources are important. Based on all data sources, we can get a good picture of our customers. We have not only obtained the actual data, such as demographic and geographical data, but we can also identify customer behavior on their physiographic patterns. My God, it was a difficult word. Facebook and Instagram are used by most age groups. The trick here is to post high quality pictures on a regular basis. Behind the scene pictures and stories are very well received. So mix pictures with your about your fantastic restaurant and hotel with pictures from the kitchen, housekeeping staff, and have them tell your story. You might have a lot of followers on these channels, and to convert followers to bookers means that they understand what to expect during their stay. To visualize this, you can use professional models mixed with natural guests that are staying there. You can get help of your guest, but when you want to have a control over the quality of pictures, you might just like use your high quality pictures from yourself as well. So have a mix there. If we look at TikTok and YouTube, these are used by age groups which might influence parents to book on a specific hotel. If you want to use these channels and get more traction from just the younger age generation, you will have to use film with interesting content. A nice film from your property is good to have, but if you want to create interesting content, for instance, how to make fantastic signature dishes, tips on how to clean a room without too much effort, attractions such as cycle tours, dog sledges, gaming, mini golf and more, these types of channels are only interesting if you make them interesting. But if you choose to use them, know how to use them, because it includes a production of a lot of filmed material, including text and sound. So create films about anything that can happen during your stay, and don't only go for a nice film about your property. So what did we learn? First of all, it would be a good start to use generational segmentations. And within these segments, find out more about your customers. You can do this by using data sources. Data sources can be found in your own systems, but you will need to track who your customers are, who your customer is. Where does he or she come from, and what is their interest? This increases the importance of obtaining guest contact information, so we can get in touch with them. The choice and use of your social media channels is very much depending on this. What interests them, who influences them to make the sale. If you are the type of property that can create interesting and filmed content, you might want to consider channels such as TikTok and YouTube. But know what you do, as creating content there, the content there involves more work. And that was actually all for me. Hope you enjoyed it, and do contact me if you want to know more about Taktikon or Taktikon hotels. So we move over to the next guest, which is going to be Fiona Gillen from the Hotels Network. Fiona, I hope that you find that first of all, welcome back to the webinar, because you've been here a few times before.
Thank you, Annemarie. Very happy to be here.
Yeah, very happy to have you here as well. And well, okay, if you are ready, please go ahead.
Okay, so as I said, my name is Fiona Gillen. I head up marketing at the Hotels Network. If you don't know us, we're helping, I think now it's almost 20,000 hotels all around the world to grow the direct booking channel. And one of the areas that we focus on very much is personalization, and personalizing the user experience on the hotel's website. And so I wanted to talk more about this with you today. I'm just waiting for the slides to move on, but I'll start anyway. So I think personalization today is absolutely critical because consumers have just come to expect it, because we see it with Netflix. I mean, if you go into your Netflix account, I go into my Netflix account, we don't see the same thing. And we think that this should be exactly the same for hotels' websites. And we might slide, oh, there, they're going now. Okay, so Netflix is one example. That Nike by You, these are the personalized trainers. And so Nike can charge a higher price point because these are unique and personalized for each person. And they also only sell them through their direct channel, so they have higher margins as well. But if there's any industry where personalization is really critical, it really is hospitality, because as we know, hospitality is personal. And the thing is that quite often, whenever we think about personalization in hospitality, we think of on property. So whenever the guest is actually during their stay, and maybe you give you leave their favorite newspaper on their bed. But what I'm going to speak about today is specifically personalization during the online booking process. So obviously, a hotel needs to have a balanced channels mix and distribution mix, but today I'm going to speak specifically about the direct channel. So here we're looking at the typical conversion funnel for your hotel website. And of the 100% of the users that arrive on your website, on average, only about 50% of those actually go into the booking engine and make a search. And even more shockingly, there's only about 2% on average that actually end up making a booking. So there's huge potential here. 98% of the visitors that arrive on your website are likely to leave without making a booking. So if you can increase that from 2% to 3%, that's, works out at almost, a 50% increase in the direct revenue that you can generate at your hotel. So whenever we're working with our hotels, we always recommend to, before throwing more money at your paid campaigns, for them to look more and invest more time on focusing on improving the conversion rate of their website, because this means you can actually lower the investment that you're making in your marketing campaigns, but because your conversion rate is higher, you'll be able to drive more direct bookings. And what we've seen as the most effective way of increasing this conversion rate is focusing on personalization. So the key to personalization is targeting and segmentation. So this follows on nicely from what Annemarie was speaking about earlier. We, because the person's already on the website and about to book a hotel, we focus more on the behavioral segmentation. So we don't look so much at, is it a male or a female or what age they are, because I'm Fiona, but I could be looking this week for a weekend going away with my husband and my kids. But next week I could be looking for a single room when I'm traveling for business. So we focus it very much around what the person's actually looking for on the website and where they're coming from. And you can see some examples here of the different types of segmentation you can do. We have about 30 different segmentation rules that are standard, but then, I mean, with the custom rules, basically there's no limit to what you can do. And I always think that some of the easiest ways to explain things is to give some examples. So here I'm just going to go quite quickly through some real examples that hotels are doing today that have given good results. Okay, so if you think about what I was saying about the problem is only 50% of the users are going into the booking engine. What can we do to reduce the bounce rate? And I always think the same way as you would love to be able to welcome personally the guests that arrive in your foyer, you know, let's try and give them this personal welcome on the website. So here, this user has come from Escocia. So this is sort of an ecological search engine alternative to Google. And when the person arrives on the website, they see this message displayed by the hotel saying that they have been awarded an eco label, because obviously this is something relevant and most likely would resonate with this user, and obviously a CTA trying to encourage them to move through the booking funnel. Or as speaking about social media, as Annemarie was speaking about, if you've got your users coming from Facebook, then what can we do to actually convert those, you know, lookers into bookers? And so here, this is a message that's saying, you know, we love our Facebook friends. And do you know, if as a Facebook follower, you receive a complimentary house cocktail whenever you arrive at our hotel? And this makes them feel special. And it obviously encourages them to stay on the website and feel that this is the right hotel for them to go to. One of the areas, and this is for paid traffic. We definitely think that you should have personalized message based on whichever channel you have used to drive the traffic to your website. So this is an example of a campaign run by a chain of hotels in Spain. And they had this personalized message for the users coming for their paid traffic. The campaign ran for over 2 months. And the average increase conversion during those 2 months was 31%, which obviously had a huge impact on their cost of acquisition, which went down considerably. It's also possible to target based on the country where your user is coming from. So you maybe wouldn't want to say the same thing to somebody arriving from America as to somebody arriving from the UK. And in this example, this message you see in the top left-hand corner is only visible to locals. So based on their local IP address, this message is encouraging them to come down to their beautiful bar and to try out some of their classic cocktails. This message obviously wouldn't be relevant for somebody in the States searching for a stay 3 months in advance. So this is really where it makes sense to have these personalized messages based on who's coming to visit. We know that creating a sense of urgency is critical. And what we've seen is that a countdown clock is a great tactic to get people to not wait and book about it next week and then they forget about your hotel, but to actually make that booking in the moment. Interesting here as well, this message was only shown to people searching for single rooms. So I don't know if you know about Singles Day, but this is almost as big in China as a Black Friday campaign would be for us here in Europe. And so there's huge commercial opportunity. And so this message was only be shown to somebody looking for a single room around the dates of Singles Day, which is at the start of March. And also when you're thinking about your messages, it's not only the wording that you use in the messages, it's adapting the image that you choose as well to the target audience that you're trying to address. So for example, if somebody's searching for a room for 2 adults and with 2 small children, then the image on the right might be relevant for them and resonate more with them. We talk a lot about conversion, but obviously you want to increase your average booking value as well. And in this example, it's within the booking engine and the hotel's trying to tempt the visitor to upgrade to their suite. And what's nice here, as you can see as well, the message is integrated into the website. So it appears as native content, which is really nice, especially for a luxury brand, rather than having something that's overlaid on the website. And the results from this test showed that they had over 20% uplift in revenue by showing this offer. And similarly, to increase your average booking value, extending the length of stay is really useful. We use a lot of, stay for 4 nights, but only pay 3, things like this. I put in this example because I thought it was interesting. This form is only shown to people who are searching for a stay that's more than 7 nights. And this is obviously a huge booking potential. These are big bookings. And there was 27% of people who saw this form filled out the form, which means that the hotel can then contact them, explain that they have these exclusive rates for people staying more than 7 nights, and there's a much higher chance of converting these big bookings. For me, this is one of the most interesting targeting options, where you can personalize based on whether the person is likely to book or not. So we can basically identify if there's a very low probability they're going to book or a very high probability that they're going to book. In this case, the hotel was targeting those where there's a very low chance that they were going to book. And so they needed a little bit of extra incentive to get them to book. And so they gave this special offer off with 15% off. It increased conversion by almost 25%, generating an additional 30,000 euros from those bookings and from people who probably would not have booked without this. And the other thing is that they saved money on promotional spend. So rather than giving a 15% or 10% discount, blanket discount shown to everyone, by targeting it only to users who really need it, you can then save money on those users who don't need it. And once somebody's actually made a booking, then use the opportunity to encourage them to follow you on your Instagram channel, or to join your club, or to book as some time during your spa or in your restaurant. And if you can't convince them, these 98% of the people are going to leave, and you can't convince them to make a booking right away, then we can detect when they're about to leave your website, and you can display a personalized message there. And in this example, hotels actually using it as a good opportunity to try to capture email addresses and encouraging then so that they can continue this relationship with the guests, and hopefully they will make a booking later on whenever they're ready to book. And one final thing before I finish is that I couldn't talk about creating content and messages without talking about ChatGPT. We're using it in our marketing team already daily to draft press releases or whatever it is. And so within our tools, well, we've integrated it into what we call the AI assistant. So these help to automatically generate texts, and then the user can just refresh it and find the exact message that they want, automatically translate it into the languages, and then these messages go live on their hotel's website. And so by doing all this and focusing on a more personalized approach, so think Netflix, you don't want all your users to be seeing the same static website. You can probably move your conversion from your homepage to your booking engine from maybe 50% up to 60%. And you can move with your conversion rate within the booking engine, also increase that as well by focusing on targeting by purchase intent, by travel party. And always remember, it's not all about discounts at all. You can also use a lot more messages and explaining what's unique about your property, and that will also improve your conversion rate. That's all I had to say at the minute. I'll hand back to you, Annemarie.
Okay, thank you for that, Fiona. I was actually thinking, it's like, does this actually mean that there's going to be an end of like pop-ups? I mean, the pop-ups usually are just like there with quite general information.
I think that because a pop-up is sort of, I think, a negative word, and people think, oh, this pop-up, that's annoying. But the whole point is that if you make the message relevant to the person that's reading it and it brings value for you. So I'm searching for, I have small kids, I'm searching for a room with kids, and this message appears that says, do you know that we offer babysitting services, or kids have breakfast for free? Then it's not interrupting my user experience, and it's actually making it better, because I think, okay, then this is perfect. This is the perfect hotel for me. So I think that is it's all about making sure that the message is relevant, and then the format that if you want something to be really visible and jump out at somebody, so that maybe if they're about to leave the website, then maybe you do want something that really jumps out and stands out. And if it's that's not the time of the different stages of the booking funnel, then something like an inliner that's integrated like native content would be perhaps more relevant.
Yeah, I think if you talk about talk to me, I think that would be quite interesting, because I mean, usually when I am on a website, it's like almost immediately either book, follow us, or anything other general, and it's not really that interesting, I think, just like for me. But if
It is too general, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so much, Fiona. It was really interesting.
You're welcome.
Moving over to the next interesting person, Jenny Langone.
Thank you, Annemarie. It's great to be here. And hello, everyone. I am Jenny Langone, and I am the area manager here in the Nordics for Expedia Group. And I am in beautiful sunny Stockholm today. I manage the lodging part of Expedia Group in Sweden, Norway, and Finland. And before I get into my presentation, I just wanted to quickly introduce Expedia Group to those of you who don't know us so well. We are a big company with several travel brands all over the world. Obviously, Expedia.com is the most common one, but we also have several others from all over the world. Hotels.com is the most common one here in the Nordics. But we have Vrbo as well, Travelocity, etc. So it's a big family of many travel brands here in the world. I'm sure many of you are familiar with us. And today, I would like to talk to you about some solutions that not only will help convert business and help you grow your business and give you more reservations, but also talk to you a little bit about how you can also improve the experience for travelers. Whether you need to reach new customers when they're dreaming about a vacation, or if they're in the booking process, maybe they are already right now staying at your property and you would like them to come again, or maybe it's a guest who has already checked out from your property. We have some tools and ideas to help you get as many bookings as possible. So let's kick it off. The most important thing in the discovery phase of our travelers is content. I know, Annemarie, you spoke about this as well a little bit. 92% of travelers are more likely to book a property when your property have descriptions and photos. So it's extremely important that your content is up to date. Otherwise, people just won't think about you, they won't find you. So content really is king here. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an idea, when you talk about content, so what is it that we're talking about, right? You can really make sure that your content is complete if you go into our Expedia Partner Central. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, but you should think of the same thing when you are in your own websites, for instance, just making sure that the information that you want travelers to know about you to see is actually up to date. For instance, if you are offering free breakfast, just making sure that that information is available for travelers is so important. And on our brands and on our online sites, if you don't have that information listed, you won't show up in search results when travelers are filtering and maybe selecting only properties that are offering breakfast. So the first thing is to really make sure that your information is correct and up to date. The second thing that you also spoke a little bit about, Annemarie, is photos. Photos is also extremely important, and we all know this. Most travelers look at photos before they look at anything else. And it's so easy today to make sure that photos are up to date and they are actually available on all our different websites. And if you don't have up-to-date photos, you can easily take a quick picture with your mobile phone and then upload them. So it's super easy today to make sure that you have the correct content and the correct photos available. In Partner Central as well, on our sites, we have what we call a photo score, and you can also get tips and ideas of what photos that may be missing from your profile, and also what resolution the photos should be uploaded, etc. So if you don't know, go in and get some ideas and update that I think that will make a big difference to attract new guests to your property. Continuing the discovery phase, the last thing I wanted to touch on here is really points of interest. When travelers book reservations or book hotel rooms, they really look at location, right? It's location, location, location. But it's important that you also showcase that and what is around you. So it's not necessarily only the hotels that have the best location, but it's also the hotels that are showing what landmarks are around that property. So in Partner Central, for our sites, you can go in and put up to 10 different landmarks to customize it. But you should also think about this, obviously, on your own websites to make sure you list and highlight the activities and landmarks that you know that your guests enjoy and look for when they book a hotel. So if we move over from the discovery phase and really go over to the booking. So if you have done a really good job making sure your photos are there, making sure the information is up to date, now you want to make sure that these travelers don't just look, right, but they also book your property. And then how do you do this? So visibility does matter. You want to make sure that you are seen enough to the correct travelers. We see that 75%, in fact, of click traffic go to the first 15 spots in search results. So once a traveler go in and look, they will select one of the first 15 properties. So you want to be there. You want to do everything you can to make sure you are seen by these travelers. And how do you do that? Lots of different ways. In addition to making sure your content is complete and your photos and points of interest is there. Also, one of the most important things is obviously making sure you have the right rates and availability. There are lots of ways. I know you already do this today. This is one of the most important things usually for hotels. I know many of you also work with Taktikon on this, so that's fantastic. We also have a tool where you can go in, that's called Rev Plus, where you can go in and look at how your rates and availability compare to your competitors. You can also find market trends here and data as well as public rates, for instance. So you can go in and look to see and make sure that you actually have a competitive rate in the marketplace to make sure that those travelers actually select your booking when they make their choice. The next thing that I would highly recommend is that you also look at the performance, right? Which many of you, I'm sure, already do this today. You compare your performance to your competitors. And we have also another tool here called Property Analytics, where you can go in and see how visible is your property compared to your competitors. And what are they doing that you're not? So I would recommend that you also go in and take a look at this to make sure you have the most visibility for your property. I think also Fiona touched on this. When it comes to guest insights, this is extremely important to understand the reasons why the guests choose your property and why they may also choose a competitor property. So I would recommend that you also take a look at this, try to find out who your guests are, where are they coming from, what countries, are they families, are they traveling alone? Try to gain as much data as possible on your guests so that you can target towards them in the future to get as many new bookings as possible. We also have tools here where you can go in and actually do marketing tools, for instance, to target specific guests that you are looking to attract more of. Okay, so now you've completed your content, you made sure your photos are up to speed, you have competitive rates, you have availability. Now the guest has hopefully booked you and your property. Now the fun begins, right? So now you really need to start communicating to the guests directly. So they made a reservation. The moment they make a reservation, we recommend that you start communicating to those guests. Now you have their data, you have their contact information. Really, to improve the guest experience, you need to start communicating with your guests as soon as possible. We find that 40% of our guests that feel engaged are also more likely to return to the property, because you don't want them to just book one time. You want them to book several times and come again and again. And as soon as they start feeling engaged with you, they are much, much more likely to also return to your property. So how do you then communicate to these guests? We recommend that you start communicating immediately. As soon as they have made a reservation, send them a message saying thank you for their booking. Really try to personalize that experience. Also what Fiona was talking about. Really have that unique conversation with them so they feel welcomed and they feel that they really have chosen the right property. In Partner Center as well, for those of you who work with our platforms, we have templates also to help you do this. So for the bookings that are coming through our sites, you can definitely use these templates as well and try to make them as personalized as possible to gain the most effect out of them. Once the guest has checked in, you move in to real-time feedback. A lot of properties I know use this face-to-face at the reception. They check if they come down to dinner, for instance, how is your room? How is everything going? And I think that's great. Continue doing that. There are also lots of ways to communicate with the guests online, digitally, with real-time feedback. And this is really fantastic to discover potential issues that may have happened in the room after check-in, and also, and most importantly, to turn those experiences or those problems around. That would really make the guests feel seen and more likely to also return to your property. Once they check out, that doesn't mean that the journey ends, right? Once a guest checks out, they really set the stage for future travelers. Future travelers most likely choose a property who have great reviews. So really capturing those guest reviews after checkout is extremely important. We found that travelers read at least 6 to 12 reviews. It's more than I would read, I must admit. But in general, 6 to 12 reviews before making a decision on what property. So really make sure that you have reviews and good ones. Makes a big difference for travelers to choose your property in the future. We also see that 83% usually or always reference reviews before deciding to book. So that's 83% of travelers. So if you don't have any reviews, most likely you will not get those bookings. So really, really make sure that you focus on guest reviews. In fact, we found as well, 50% won't even book a property if they don't have any reviews. So that's right off the bat. They won't even look at you or book. But it's not really enough just asking guests to fill out reviews. You also need to do a little bit of work here. You need to answer them. That makes a big, big difference. In fact, we have found that 85% agree that a thoughtful response to a bad review will improve their impression of the property. Additionally, as I listed here, 65% say that if they see a response from the property, makes them more likely to book that property. So really making sure not just to get reviews, but respond to them. And even if they're bad reviews, responding to them will increase your chances of getting more bookings. We also have tools in our Partner Central. I won't go through them today, but just a little heads up that if you don't use guest reviews in any other method or company, then there are lots of tools also available for you in Expedia Partner Central. Once you have received great reviews, I would really recommend that you also share this, right? So don't just share it on internally, but you can share it on your website. We have little awards that you can post on your website. You can download them and post them on your website. You can also print them out and post them at the reception, because once guests really say that you've done a great job and they've had a great experience, you want to make sure that you share that, because it will increase your chances of getting more bookings in the future. And with that said, whether the guests are dreaming of your property, or they're in the booking process, they may be experiencing right now, or they are reflecting. I really hope that these tips have given a little bit of an idea on how you can attract and get more bookings at your property. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Jenny. Actually, I was just like thinking about just like responding to reviews. They say that you should respond to every review, but I sometimes heard that, I mean, especially to the bad reviews, because I mean these are being read more often than the good ones. I think apparently we like to read some gossip. And also if you then just like add a nice reply back. Yeah, I heard exactly what you say, that this is really helpful.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's go over to our star guest of the day, Vanja Vibern. Vanja, you're an old colleague of mine, and so much welcome here at the webinar. Maybe before I start asking you questions, maybe you would like to just like tell me a bit more about yourself?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Vanja Vibern, and I work, as I told you before, at Stockholm Meeting Selection. We run 10 destinations in the Stockholm area, which includes spa hotels, castles, restaurants, and conference facilities. I have been in the industry for quite long. I've been working with Annemarie for a long time ago at the Rica hotels, but I also worked at other hotel chains like Nordic Choice Hotels, Nordic Hotels. I've been to SAS, and during 2015 to 2019, I was the head of marketing at the Stockholm Meeting Selection. But then I wanted to do something else, so I tried another thing. I started to work as Chef of the Year, which is the Swedish championship in in professional cooking. So I worked there for 2.5 years. But since last January, I'm back at Stockholm Meeting Selection as the Chief Commercial Officer. So that's a short intro about me.
A short introduction to Vanja Vibern. Okay, well, when we spoke previously to about this webinar, you spoke about like your the fact that you find like trademarks and concepts quite very important. So Stockholm Meeting Selections and hotels and destinations, I think the complete name is, right? You have a very clear trademark and concept. Would you be able to give us your thoughts about the importance of this?
Yes. We have actually a multi-branding strategy, which means that all our destinations have their own brands and own concept. It requires, of course, more resources, but we believe in different experience for different guests. This means that we try to develop our brands and our concepts, our interior designs, and different services, and of course, different communication that stand out. The brand strategy is also a guideline for us for what kind of experience we want to develop and what decision we want to make. It's easier to take the right decision and also say no to things that you don't want to do, which not goes along with the brand. For me, brand strategy focus on how your company and brand are perceived in the current market, and how your brand is perceived is critical to beating the competition and also reaching consumers successfully and building a positive reputation, and also fulfilling your business needs, I think. It was a long answer.
No, and I think a good one as well. I mean, a lot of hotels, what you say, it's like trademarks, I might think is not just like what you choose, but also what you choose not to choose.
Yes, it's very important. And how should you know that? You need to have like a guideline, something who tells you what is right and what is wrong. Because we are a lot of people working in the company, you can want to do this and that, but you have to have a common target and a common concept that you keep to.
Yeah, and I think this is also that comes to the next question. So, okay, you might have decided on a nice trademark, nice concept, but how do you make sure that these trademarks and concepts are incorporated throughout the whole company?
Yes, I mean, for example, when we develop a brand or taking over a brand or something like that, We start with a workshop. We call it a strategy forum. And this often includes the owner, the management team, and other key persons. And we try to find the uniqueness of each place, each hotel or property. And from that, we create a story. And the story will then be our inspiration when we create the brand promise. So this is a very creative phase, which leads to a framework, like a brand book. And in this brand book, it includes everything from a vision, mission, target groups, personas, experiences, food philosophy, and even to what staff are going to wear, what kind of uniform they will have. But then, of course, when this is set, we need to implement it in the hotel. So every department needs to have this brand book so they can work with the brand book and the guidelines.
Yes, and I can understand that this is quite important because, I mean, you have different hotels and every hotel has just like a different concept, a different idea, a different trademark. So I think, well, if you have a new person coming in, they might just like read the book, right?
Yes, it's very important because, I mean, you can have a lot of fantastic ideas, but if everybody who's new, if you have a new general manager who wants to make something else, or another person wants to do something else, then it's not going to be clear for our guests. So we need to be very focused and work with the brand book. That's very important.
Yeah, and I think coming to that, well, this is a webinar about communication. So you have a concept, everybody knows about the concept, but how do you communicate your concept and well, the trademark though, for your various hotels so that your guests understand what to expect?
Yes, of course, this brand concept must of course be implemented through the whole guest journey. I mean, we were talking about the pictures before. I mean, the pictures, it's very important. It's not just it's going to be a good quality, it needs to be the right message. And I think also the tone of voice, how are you describing your brand, is also very, very important. I mean, we must send out the same message to the guest. So we can't have different pictures and different communication. It has to be talking to each other. So I mean, I think how you want your brand to be perceived is about being clear and persistent. And I mean, as you know, everything communicates. You know, what you see on the website, on the OTAs, on the social media gives our guests expectations. And as you know, sometimes you give too high expectation, and sometimes you get a wrong expectation. So I think it's very important to get the right expectation. And also, of course, when you have the guests on site, give them a fantastic experience. But I also think this brand guidelines should help you to find out how you're going to communicate. So you have to have the right words, and the right taglines. So you use the same all the time. I mean, if you're working at the marketing department, maybe it's easy for you. But if you're working as a general manager, needs to communicate in the same way. So I would say that you need to give your customer the same message before purchase, during the stay, and after stay. And I mean, communication is not just about what you say, it's how you say it. And I will also say that we often talk about communication business to business or communication business to consumer. But I think about communication to humans. I mean, this is we're selling a brand experience. We're not selling a product.
No, but if you have like different trademarks within your own brand, does this also mean that the way you communicate, your tone of voice depends from property to property, or is it just like the same? It's like a Stockholm Meeting Selection kind of.
No, I would say it should be some, but of course we also have to work on it. But we should have. I mean, we are working on tone of voices for all our places. But of course, there are words you use. You know, it's a fantastic weekend and a fantastic. You know, you use words. The same words sometimes, but I think it's important to find the tone of voice for that property, for that hotel, so you can see, okay, it's a difference between them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Vanja. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. I was
Thank you.
actually thinking if we go to just like these expectations, Jenny, and I don't really know if you know the answer, but sometimes we can have, it's like on the OTAs, we can have two hotels that are just like neighbors to each other. One hotel gets a very bad review about neighborhood and the other one doesn't, but then they are in the same one. Does this have to do with like the expectations or the pictures? Would you have like an answer to that?
Yes,
You know?
I do. I mean, we do get that question quite often, to be honest. But yes, I think you answered it in your question. A lot of it has to do with expectation. Our guests, again, look so much at content. They look at picture and they make up an idea in their mind of what that property looks like. And if that doesn't matches their expectation when they check in, their reviews will be obviously better or worse depending on the experience. So I think it's so important that the content again is accurate. It's not, some properties tend to take the best pictures and post them, but that's not necessarily the best approach. But instead actually study that right expectation. I think, I mean, we've also seen the opposite, right? We've seen properties who may be in a really poor location, but they have fantastic guest reviews. So.
Yeah, so it might have to do with daring to be honest about what location you have. I think
Absolutely.
One more question to you before I have a nice question to Fiona as well. But then when you were talking, I was thinking you were talking a lot about pictures, quality of pictures, yes. But I mean, would you know which type of pictures work the best? Like, is it the outside? Is it the bathroom, or is it something else? Is it like what pictures are being clicked at most? Do you know that?
I don't have the answer of which pictures are clicked at the most because it depends. And it's also the answer to your first question. It depends on the property, to be honest with you. We do have, on our sites, we do have a minimum sort of requirement that each property can go in and look at, what pictures are missing to get the most visibility, right? So if there's no picture of a bathroom, that's going to lower the visibility. If there's no picture of a bedroom, for instance, it's going to lower the visibility. But it can't only be that. You can't have 10 pictures of bathrooms. You know what I mean? Then you're missing some others. So it depends. And my answer would be, and my recommendation would be, go in and look at the recommendations that we give for each property.
Yeah, I think it's so good you say, because I mean, all of a sudden, I think for a few years you went out with like, okay, have pictures of bathrooms, and all of a sudden hotels had like about 10 pictures of their toilet. But then,
yeah.
Fiona, you talk a lot about personalization, but why do you think personalization has an impact on conversion? And do people really care when they are booking a room for the night?
That's quite difficult, because if you says, does personalization increase conversion, that's easy because I've seen it time and time again. But why does it work is a lot more complicated. And I don't think there's a black and white answer, but my gut feeling it's because we're humans, and it's about feeling, and we like to feel special, and we like to feel good. And I've seen a lot written about in biopsychology. People talk about dopamine, which is in your brain, and it's triggered whenever you have pleasant experiences. So if you eat really lovely food in a restaurant, or you're having fun with your friends, then dopamine is triggered in your brain. And then the research has shown that dopamine can also be triggered through an online experience. So whenever a consumer is navigating around a website, or in this case, looking to book a hotel. And so it could be that if whenever they're navigating around your website, that you say, this is an exclusive offer for you, Fiona, because you're one of our valued silver members, or it makes you feel good, and it's releasing this dopamine in your brain. And so you want to continue and have that nice feeling, and you move on down the booking journey, because everyone wants to feel special. And, it goes back to personalization, feel welcome, the personalized experience at the hotel, in the foyer, in the reception. And I think it applies exactly. It's no surprise that this applies exactly the same to the online experience.
You're actually quite right. You feel good when you're being recognized.
Yeah.
Vanja,
Yes.
I was thinking about. I don't know if you probably have a good answer to that. But then, do you have which social media channels do you use, and how do you make sure that they are just like of high quality?
Sorry, say again. What did you say?
Which social channels do you use, and do you think that you convert them from your followers to bookers?
Of course, we work with a lot of channels, and of course we want them to be bookers. But we also, of course, need to have all the other channels like Expedia and other channels to help us to fill the hotel. But I think it's very important. Of course, we want to drive more direct bookings. So the communication, the pictures, and everything we communicate will help hopefully our guests to find, yes, I want to stay at like this castle here in the background, or another place. So I think it's yes, it's very important.
Yeah. And diversity on all these channels. Are you on anything else than Facebook and Instagram, by the way? Do you know?
No, yes. For the social media, we also LinkedIn, and we have tried some different like YouTube, but it's mostly Instagram and Facebook where we doing our ads, and Google, of course.
I think I see that it's almost at the end of the webinar already. I did have like a short question also to Jenny. You talk about like your how well you are shown on the search lists, but does not really search result depend on what the guest has been looking for previously?
Well, no, the search results don't show up what they've looked at previously, but the filters are obviously recommended as well, and they are sometimes saved as well for the traveler. So if you just go in on a brand new computer and look at the search results, it will vary constantly. So you can never probably find the exact same. That's what we always call it when we post the average sort order, because it changes constantly. There's so many variables that kind of taken into effect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think we are at the end of the hour. If none of our speakers do want to add something that I have not asked about previously. Oh, okay. Well, that was the end of the webinar. Hope you enjoyed it. Our next webinar will be on the 8th of June and will be about how hotel industry can become a sustainable one, with speakers from Moodle, Bionics, Taktikon and more, and hope you can join us again. We will send you the recording of the webinar to you as soon as possible. For participants from the Benelux, in May, we return to Rotterdam, Brussels and Amsterdam with our Revenue Forum seminar. Revenue Forum seminar currently runs in 12 cities in 10 countries and is for hotels who want to spend a half a day of inspiration and networking. This is a free of charge seminar to attend and no sales pitches allowed. You can find all information about our seminars and webinars on our website, revenueforum.net. And that was all for us. I hope to meet you on our next webinar or on one of the next seminars or events we organize. Thank you so much for listening.